I need you to win. They're the only team that's letting me down.
Good evening, Super League fans worldwide, and welcome to another edition of the Super League Roundup. It is Christmas jumper day here in the UK. I'm rocking mine. Steve is now rocking his. Jamie's too scared to wear his because he's too cool for it. Jens is too busy looking forward to the Northern Lights to even worry about stupid Christmas jumpers, but I'm sure he would want to be rocking one anyway. We are here, the five of us, to talk all things Super League for the next half hour or so, after what has been another exciting, if largely frustrating week for some teams. So let's get to it as we look at the table. Jens, I'll come to you first, actually. Fostex Stanley continue to top the table. Have you been impressed with what they've done so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't really think they've been flying. I think they got another gear to play, and that's a concern for the rest of the league. I mean, they're grinding out results and they're top of the table, so yeah, they're going to be a tough one to crack for sure.
No, absolutely, and not far behind them. In fact, it's still a very tight league table after 8 games. Steve, let's come to you. Fulchester, are they something of a surprise package? I mean, I think they've done tremendously well.
No, I won't say so. When you look at how Macca did last year with a squad that I certainly don't think is anywhere near the capabilities of the one he's got now. So to come from where he did to get in the playoffs and get to the final, and now have better players in front of him, it's certainly not a surprise to me anyway.
In third place currently, Jamie, let's come to you. In third place, we've got the Scottish supernova that is Haggis Hunters. Have you been, is impressed the right word? I think the large consensus is they've done tremendously well without playing tremendously well.
Yeah, I think they're going to be happy with the position at the moment. I think they've had 1 or 2 games where they've been really poor. First game against Steve, probably the biggest champion of the season so far. And they've had a few other games.
UPR game?
Yeah. But no, I think they're doing well. I think they kind of got a settled formation now, but I think they're going to be extremely happy because I think they've probably been a bit inconsistent so far this season, and to sit on the points they've got now bodes well. So, if they hit a bit of form, then I think that both of them are definitely going to be happy where they are at the minute.
And at this point, Greavesy, we come to you, the first manager who's actually able to talk about his team. After a good start, you've had a bit of a blip, but a decent result midweek. You must still be delighted with the progress made by your largely unfancied squad.
Yeah, I'm ever so happy, really, because if I look back on my the draws that I've got have been disappointing, because with Bostock, I feel I should have picked up a win there on how the second half went, and the same with Fulchester. So to sit where I am, I'm happy that I've only lost once, but I've had far too many draws. I haven't been able to capitalise on the way my team's been playing.
Just in behind you is the Gazelles. Are they starting to make their move, do you think, Greasy?
Yeah, I think he's stumbled across your formation, and it's working well at the moment. Be interesting to see how he'd cope with an injury, because I don't think he's got a lot. He's got a very good first 11, but I don't think he's got a lot of depth. So it'll be interesting to see.
And Jamie, from one of the most recognised voices in the champ community to one of the bigger characters, I would say, in the champ community, we've got Sloth also doing well early doors. Can they maintain this push, do you feel?
Yes, it's going to be interesting. They're doing obviously great so far, but I think it is still early days. I think another 3 or 4 games when we come to the halfway point, and then you'll kind of see where we are. But I think they're doing, an unfancied, side. Collins obviously on fire at the minute. But yeah, I don't see any reason why they can't continue it, to be fair.
Jens, Halls are next in the table as we carry our trip down. And I don't know if you ever see those montages of FIFA players as the game has developed over the years and how their faces have become more lifelike. If we were to do sort of a panini sticker version of every time we've done these Zoom calls, you've gone from being rock bottom without a win to absolutely buzzing now. And that's in the space of 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. We had some good weeks for sure. I mean, I'm new to the league and I'm inexperienced, but I really fancy my squad, and our goal is to get to the playoffs, and we're still not quite there. But yeah, of course, 4 wins in a row is amazing. It's going to be really interesting to see now this weekend and get a real test for sure.
Yeah, and we'll be coming on to this weekend's fixtures shortly. Steve, let me ask you about Lettersford. Would you have expected them to be higher up the table at this stage, or are they fine where they're positioned for the moment?
Yeah, I probably would, to be fair. I think last season was the first real season I dipped in and out watching Super League. And then last season, obviously, I watched it from start right through, and Odger were absolutely on fire from start. And I think he's just gone a bit low with his formation. Yeah, I think it worked for him in the first game, and I think he's got a bit of an happy-go-lucky attitude about him this year. I'm just going to go for it all year and see what happens. And I still expect that he'd be in and around top 6 by the time it comes round, for definite.
I feel like I've spoken at length on every different format about where I see the Devils at the moment. Greavesy, what's your assessment? I mean, everyone's saying we should be right up there with the squad we've got. I've been largely happy with the start we've made because it's better than I have it in previous years. What's your take on the Devils as a neutral?
As a neutral, I think you got to let your handbrake off. You're too used to being the happy-go-lucky. Oh, I'm here to take part. You can the side you've got now. You've realised, right? I've got this formation. Players are clicking. I've got Barry Ferguson who's fighting against the world at DMC, and it's just you just got to go for it. And I think in the past few, you tinkered about in your second game, and now you've realised, and I think you got a good go. You just got to go for it really, instead of playing yourself down all the time.
Someone who has probably done that just as much as I have. I'm looking at you, Mr. Hopkins. Are you still looking at, or are the three of you at this early stage looking for as high a finish as possible, or is top 6 still the aim?
Yeah, top 6 is always the aim. I don't know where you're coming from. I haven't changed all season. I say it now, our squad is the same as you, the best squad I've ever had in the Super League. And we can all sit here and say, managers, but I do feel you're only as good as sometimes your squad is. And I think, we're seeing that with Kieran this year. So yeah, there's no excuses. Although, as I've said all along, I genuinely feel all 14 managers deep down feel their squad is good enough to make the top 6, but ultimately only 6 teams can. So eight squads aren't going to make it. But yeah, I won't be happy if we don't make the top 6, because I feel we've got the squad too. So hopefully now after Wednesday we can start to climb up that table.
Just tucked in behind you is Dudley Hill and Mr. Wright. Last time we spoke, you had nothing that resembled home form. Your away form was excellent. So, bang, we knew what was going to happen midweek.
Oh, without a doubt. There were no way you were going to carry on with an 100% away record, any point ever. So, I think, if I'm honest, I'm going at Scott this week, and I think that results in me in better stead losing that one rather than scraping a draw or something like that. But yeah, if I'd have picked up a couple of home wins, I'd be looking absolutely on top of the world, if I'm honest. And infuriating. And like it got mentioned a couple of times, Martin said that he didn't win an home game in 13 games when he was involved as a manager. And I can't get that back in there.
He was terrible, though. Listen, Martin made me and Fifey look like Klopp and Guardiola. That's how bad he was.
I was literally about to say the same thing.
He did. He made us look like world beaters. It was great.
But we're going with Totty up front this week. If it don't work with him up front, which it did do playing home saves, but he don't. I don't care how many times, like we say about Al, how many times you play an home save does not have any recollection whatsoever. Unless, I think Scott made the comment, unless you're adding your manager and playing against yourself every game and changing formations against yourself, that's probably where it works. And he scored 5 games on trot against good teams. But if not, he's on right wing after that. And if not, he's going to go to centre half, and then he's going to go Ignite. Carry on. So,
can't play any worse.
Jens, I'm going to ask you about Asta next. There are the occasional comments. I think Churchtown, I think they've been mentioned today. Certain managers seem better, obviously, with better players. And there's been an accusation made tonight that we're seeing that with Churchtown, who have a weaker squad. Alf is on this pedestal, quite rightly, I think, as a bit of a legend. Do you think he is actually a better manager than the players he has?
I think it's hard to say, because I think going Kieran first, I think for me, he's maybe the ballsiest manager in the league. I love his tactics. He's trying different things. He's playing 3 up top. He's, I don't know, I think this year he had this thing that he didn't want to have too many players he had before. I have full respect for that. He could have easily had a point against me midweek and it would look very different. Regarding Alf, I think, I don't think his squad is too bad. He's got 2 world-class strikers. Decent players all around, but he's been a little bit unlucky, and I think he's had a little trouble finding the right tactics, to be fair. As I look at those 3 DMs he used, and I like to use 3 DMs as well, but you need to find the right combinations there, and I'm not sure he did it. If it was me having Liverani and Duff and wanting to play 3 DMs, it would be a easy choice, I think, to play Liverani at the left and Duff at the right. But we'll see. I have faith in him. His unpredictable tactics is always going to give you either a win or maybe a banging. So, but he's going to pick up the points for sure.
I couldn't agree more. Greasy, I'll come to you next as we come to the penultimate team in the league table. What else can we say about Churchtown? What would you like to add in to the conversation about Kieran and his squad?
It's night and day to what he had last year. And I think Jen's touched on it a little bit. If you look at the different formations he's tried what worked for him last year. So I think when he's got to find a formation that works for the players he has now, and it might take a little bit of time before he gets clicking again. But he has got some good players there that will perform for him. But I honestly think he's got the weakest team in the league.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Kieran has proved, not just with Churchtown, before then with Stapleton Hill, that he's a top-class manager. There's no denying that. But I think, sometimes I listen to people on comms and they kind of say, yeah, Churchtown, they got a good team. Personally, I don't think this squad is that good. I agree with Greavesy. And I think if it was myself or Fifey, if either of us to add that squad, they'd be tipped to finish bottom without getting many points, because I feel their squad is poor. I think the only chance they have got is having Kieran as manager, because he has proved he knows how to get it to the playoffs. But I do feel it's going to be very difficult with this squad. And I do feel unless he gets Aymar playing to his full potential, I don't think he'll make the playoffs.
It's an interesting point, that. And Steve, I'll ask you on this one, because Jamie's made a very good point about if it was me or him, Churchtown would be tipped to finish bottom. But because Kieran's there, They haven't been. Yet there's this wild accusation, which I don't personally agree with or believe in, because I'm a big fan of what Kieran has done in the Super League, both as a manager and as someone who offers entertainment when he posts videos and stuff, about him being tactically naive. How can you be tactically naive, yet be the man to stop that team finishing bottom?
I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to get what he perceives to be his strongest players all in the same side together. I'll be 1,000,000% honest. I made a daft deal, not really realising, because I never used him on the game with Craig, about letting Roy Keane go, and I felt lucky because of this tinkering that Kieran wants to do. I felt lucky with him letting me have Davids. He's been my best player, so to be fair, I owe him an immense amount of gratitude regardless of where I am. I think it's a case of trying to get all the players he feels the best in the team in a formation, as opposed to playing a formation where he's had a lot of success and risking players. This is probably where it's not helped him trying to get players that he hadn't had before, because he don't feel he can trust them, and trying to filter them in different positions. So I think if he had a few more players he could trust, regardless of the formations he's playing, and from what I've seen of watching Super League before being involved, I think he'd certainly be a lot better off than he would be now.
And
can I just shoot in one thing? Can I just shoot? Yeah, I just when I played him midweek, when I looked at his team, I think it looked like he'd tinkered a little bit, trying to put a team out to, what do you, I don't know how you call it in English, but to match my kind of formation. The narrow one with 3 up top was gone, and he put out the wing backs, and I mean, he was close to a point. He could have easily gotten a point there. So I think he's definitely got something going for him. If he gets Zanetti and Ashley Cole playing on those wing backs and puts Aymar on the ball, I agree he hasn't got the best team in the league for sure, but I think he's going to get points as well. I think it's so close this year.
And ladies and gentlemen, proving it is always better to be late than never. Even if Cinderella didn't get the message about the ball that it's Christmas jumper day, C-Mac is in the building. And Chris, I will give you the chance to discuss Northern Burn.
What, just in a general capacity? Or?
Yeah, just generally, mate. We're going through all the teams and sort of having our say. So please, discuss Northern Burn.
You know what? I think Ian's come in for a bit of criticism. And if you look at all of his games, I'm not sure he actually deserves it. He just seems to be on an absurd run of luck. Like, his team are all right. He's creating plenty of chances. You know, the scoring goals.
I'm going to interject here. And I will come back to you, because I don't want to interrupt. But I think the bigger picture needs to be looked at when making those sort of sweeping comments. Because yes, they are generally in the game, and yes, they are generally unlucky. But he called out my squad as much as anyone else's for being so good. You look at his 1 to 11. As we discussed previously, it can be described as something of a Galacticos in the Super League. He also had the same at BTech and did equally, I don't want to use the term badly, but was equally unsuccessful. So how long can we keep making these statements, Chris, before questions actually start having to be asked?
I think you've. That's valid. Do we add Ian?
Mark is impressed you going for the cutthroat then.
Do we add Ian from Barrow to the list of myths of Champ and Super League? Because to be honest, Fife, you're right. I was trying to not be brash and outspoken on this call. I thought if I limit my time to 20 minutes, I can only say 1 or 2 controversial things. But here we go, straight in. Ian at BTech, is he a myth? I don't know. I just feel like if it was me managing that team, I'd have had those results. I'd have felt more unlucky rather than a lack of faith in my own ability. But then when you bring up the BTech angle as well, where he has had stronger squads than some of the other teams in the league for a few years now. yeah, you have sort of maybe take a step back and think, shit,
The
does Kieran
BTech
qualify for next Myth Cup?
the BTech
I think
the
he
BTech
could.
No, the BTech argument is a great one there by Fifey. I wouldn't say this squad is great. I think it's decent and he should be doing a bit better. But the BTech squad he had was a real quality squad, and to finish where he did there, that was a really poor one. But I do agree with Fifey. We're 8 games in now. I know he's been unlucky in a few of them, but to have no wins, I think questions will start being asked. Yeah.
Jamie, question for you.
Yeah.
If Kieran goes in charge of Burn and Ian goes in charge of Churchtown, which team rises up the league quickest?
Oh, Kieran all day long.
I don't think so. It's he's got the Burn have got the cursed strike partnership. It had the same 2 strikers were playing for Sloths last year and scored 3 goals in the first 9 games.
You should have got rid of one of them, man.
They've done the same this one.
Tried getting into
Yeah.
Crespo and Kesman can't work together.
Well, that's something the manager needs to look at, isn't it? It's 8 games in now, we're not 1 or 2 in, so there's no excuses there.
It's the second season has happened in a row. Because
Can I ask a general question of everybody, right? Has anybody ever got decent returns out of Crespo on the game? Because I never have.
In a home save?
Yeah, even in a home save.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's one of my favourite.
In a home save, I have, yeah.
Oh, he's one of the best players in the game.
Has he ever done it in the Super League? Is he one of the players that plays well on home saves but not in the Super League? Because all what other Crespo hasn't.
That's a good question, and I'm just racking my brain here. And I don't know if it's fair, but I'd kind of lump him in the same category as Van Nistelrooy, where every now and then he goes on a bit of a run and looks like he's the home save version. But I can't think of a time either of those strikers have even been in the top sort of 2 or 3 goal scorers in the league.
No, Van Nistelrooy is definitely, he's obviously scoring a few goals now for Hools, but predominantly over the course of the season, he very disappointing.
Gets him in sprints, has a few, and then has a rest.
See, this is the one thing that probably goes with a contrast to home saves and the Super League. If you're doing a home save, how many times do you ever have? Unless you start with the team, Van Nistelrooy, Crespo, blah, blah, blah. But you've got strikers scoring 30, 40 goals. Would them strikers of different varying abilities, like Collins is top there now, prove different matter in Super League where they're not getting a chance because of perceived scouting ratings? You know what I mean? I went a little bit today, Al, because I just thought, I've got no name say. I thought, right, let's go for Adolfo. Let's give him a go, because all these AMCs that are superb in terms of scouting, etc. Let's see what we can do with him. But he's not easy to deal with at times, Adolfo. But that got me thinking, because he got a 10 and scored a goal in his last return game, so he's going to play him or in an home save. So it's one of them. Is it when the AI are playing them in a team on a home save, they do all this, the average 8 point odd a game out of 14 games? You have them yourself, it don't work, but you have these unknowns that score a stupid amount of goals. It's contrasting, but then again, I'm exactly the same with Totti. You don't want to not play them because of the ratings and what you think they could potentially do.
Totti's another one they'll never done in the Super League.
I think Dudley Hill's the bravest team in the league. They signed Anelka and then put him in the reserves.
He got stupid amount of sixes.
It's just setting yourself up for trouble.
Let's turn our attentions to Sunday and this weekend's fixtures. I'm looking down the list and I'm automatically drawn to Chris for game number 1, if I can. Asta versus Northern Burn. Is it the battle of who is the bigger myth?
Oh, no, it's Alf's home serves, hands down. And, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but from what you've said, Ian, it's making me think... what you've said, Fikey, it's making me think Ian is maybe just not elite level manager, right? Alf tries to play mind games every week with mystery man and mystery formation, this, that, and the other. And as per Tato Mourinho's Twitter thread, he's not beating me for mind games. I ain't falling for it. Myth. There's no point battering Vitesse Arnhem in a UEFA Cup qualifier with Oldham's reserves 9-0, right? And then getting humped in Super League 4-2. There's no point. There is no point. I had this rant last season, right? And I almost feel it was a turning point for him because he ended up changing it up and getting into the playoffs. And if Alf needs me to go on co-coms and give him a talking to again, I will gladly do it because I just feel he tinkers too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Asta v Burn, Ian's in a bad run. I'd like to see what the morale of his players are. It's probably quite low. Asta will probably nick it, and then everybody will be fawning over the cell saying Alf's a tactical genius. He's fucking 12th. Whatever.
Steve, let's come to you as you travel to Bostock. Give us a quick preview of that, if you will, please, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I've been guilty of, going back to what Chris was saying there about Alf, I've tinkered too much. Not kept formation when I've won with it, this, that, and other. I've gone with something a little bit. Well, I've gone back to wide men where I've probably DML, DMR have not really worked for me, and obviously, you know what? And I mean, no disrespect to Scott with this. I think with him not playing great, I think that Bostock side's there to be got at. Really are, and it's probably better for me than playing away, given that I'm the current Martin of home games. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not confident I can't get a result of some kind, if I'm honest. But it's the way he's trying to work out.
I completely agree with you, mate. The first game of the season when I played him, I was really doubting my squad, and I thought, he's got basically a bit of Galactico midfielder with Zidane and Riquelme. And I set up to try and hit him on the counter, and it didn't really work. And I got beat 1-0, but it was a tight game. I do think Bostock are there to be got. I do agree. So don't get me wrong, Scott is doing a tremendous job. He's doing a fantastic job with it. But I do feel there's maybe just a method to beat them that maybe no one's sussed yet, bar Haggis when they batter them.
I don't know. I think my formation is pretty similar to what Greaves played against him, where he got a draw and he probably could have won. So I'm hoping that stands in a bit of stead.
Jens, I'm going to come to you for the next game, if I may. Last year, if I'd have said Churchtown versus Ardsley, it would have unquestionably been game of the round, regardless of whatever else was there. Now I'm going to say Churchtown lettersford. Is this just kind of a meh fixture, and we're waiting for both teams to show us something?
It's a difficult one.
We haven't got Marcus' face on this now, have we? That's the problem. Brilliant. Sorry.
A lot of background sound. I don't know.
Please continue, Jens. We couldn't see you and hear you until Chris started laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah. No, I would say I would have lettersford as favourites. I think they've been showing more than Churchtown, but if he gets Zanetti and Aymar playing, I think they have a chance. The lettersford tactic is a little bit gung-ho. Either you'll win by some goals, or he plays one at the back, so it's there for Churchtown to take. But if I would have to bet on anyone, I would be lettersford, I think. Yeah.
Jamie, let's go Joshua v. Pulev style here. Please give us just a short promo ahead of your game against Greaves' Boston side.
Yeah, we're confident. Obviously Greaves has been doing well, especially now back onto winning ways on Wednesday. But I feel Khan's got a new contract, and his morale's gone up, and he kept a clean sheet on Wednesday. As I say, we've got Baumer playing in now a more natural position, and he's flying up the assist table. We're confident. No, he's retired. But no, we're confident now. I think we've hopefully found a formation that's going to work for us. The same as what's been said before. We changed it around, and I think we had looked and thought, right, we need to get as many of the better players that we've got in our team. And I think other than Seedorf, who didn't start on Wednesday, I think we kind of had a formation which got most of our better starting 11 in the team. So we're confident now. I think we've, other than Gazelles where we were terrible, we've probably been a bit unlucky in a few games. So we're confident now that we can go on a bit of a run and get up the table.
It's 4 at the back again.
4 at the back again, yeah.
Yes, mate.
Viva La 4 at the back. Greasy, that was possibly the worst promo I've ever heard in my life. Can you do something a bit better to excite the fans, please?
Well, as now full comp 271, I am now fully 271 backs. So, and I feel Wing knows on the myth himself.
I'm not sure if we're having a few technical problems with Greavesy there because there's quite a lot of static in the background. But him going full on 4-2-7-1 brings us nicely onto full Chester v Gazelles in what I think will be game of the round. And Chris, the floor is yours.
Oh, and I'm going to spoil it like always. Of course I am. In typical McMourinho style. Clivert's obviously his danger man, and let's be honest, I've got to be far more worried about Gazelles going forward than Craig's going to be worried about my side. So, again, being totally honest, the reason I'm a bit late with submission is because I'm thinking exactly how to counter what Craig might do. Will he change it up? I don't know. I'm trying to be a little bit more unpredictable this year rather than just sticking with a stock 271 to avoid that sort of mid-season collapse that I had last year. So I'm always going to say the other team's a favourite, but if I keep Clivert quiet, I might be able to nick a result. If I can, then I think Gazelle's probably 2-0.
I can't see him changing that after last game at all.
Well, the thing is, right, I think that the gig is up now, isn't it? I'm trying to go under the radar, but everybody knows I am a bit of a shithouse. I will set up to just win games, even if it's one shot on target, whatever. And I do have a tendency to nick results or get results whenever they're needed. So, the cat's out the bag now. Like, I can't keep saying, oh, yeah, we'll maybe be up there. I'm a contender for the top 6. We have to acknowledge that because I am a shithouse and I will get results.
Matt, you can't fully embrace the shithouse title until you go for the naught up front formation like other Super League legends have in the past.
No, that wasn't shithouse, that was just shit.
It won, Jamie, it won.
No, never gonna accept that, I'm sorry.
Jens, the penultimate game is Halsey Haggett. Two on their day, very entertaining teams to watch. You're banging form, so you must be very confident, especially at home.
Should be, but I mean, everything comes to an end. And we have 4 on the bounce now, and I think we were a little bit too close to dropping points Wednesday. I know what I said, but I was confident in the win. I thought we were going to be, especially after 2-0 up, I thought we were going to get an easy win. But it was close, and I still believe that Haggis has a really, really good squad. I mean, they got Agate and Stam, I think. They got a red card last game, and they put Simic and Saudi in. I mean, for me, Saudi is better than Agate. Simic is a decent defender. They got Henke Larsson back. I think they have a really, really strong squad. I know they get a lot of stick and everything, but for me, they're a top side, and I think they're going to be in the playoffs. So this is a real test for us, definitely. We're going to go unchanged, and hopefully the guys can just, keep putting up good performances, and we'll have a shot. I think it's going to be a very interesting one, for sure.
The last game, I've got about 30 seconds just to talk Sloth v Devils. I think this game covers everything you want from Champ. There'll be very similar formations in some respects, and when you see David Collins stroke Maradona on one team and you see Ronaldinho on the other team, it's everything you want from Champ. I think this should have goals in it. I hope. I can see this being similar to our games with the Dragons the other week. And I just hope, you know, we get the win. Because I thought we were unlucky midweek not to at least get a draw. But before it cuts out, I want to do this properly this time. Thank you all for coming on. And until Sunday, Super League fans, thank you and good night.
Take it easy.
Good night.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, lads.